heaven and hell. The speech of angels. 2. 240. Because the speech of angels proceeds directly from their affection, and the ideas of their thought being, as was said above, the various forms into which their general affection is distributed, angels can therefore express in a moment what a man cannot express in half an hour. Also they can set forth in a few words what has been expressed in writing on many pages. This, too, has been proved to me by much experience. Thus the angels' ideas of thought and the words of their speech make one, like efficient cause and effect. For what is in the ideas of thought as cause is presented in the words as effect, and this is why every word comprises in itself so many things. Also all the particulars of angelic thought, and thus of angelic speech, appear, when presented to view, like a thin outflowing wave or atmosphere, in which are innumerable things in their order derived from angelic wisdom, and these enter another's thought and affect him. The ideas of thought of every one, both angel and man, are presented to view in the light of heaven, whenever the Lord pleases. Number sign angels can express by their speech in a moment more than a man can express by his in half an hour, and they can also express things that do not fall into the expressions of human speech. There are innumerable things contained in one idea of thought. The ideas of man's thought are opened in the other life, and what they are is presented to view to the life. The ideas of angels of the inmost heaven present an appearance of flaming light. The ideas of angels of the outermost heaven present an appearance of thin white clouds. An idea of an angel seen, from which there was a radiation towards the Lord. Ideas of thought extend themselves widely into the societies of angels round about. 241. The angels of the Lord's celestial kingdom speak in a way resembling the speech of the angels of the Lord's spiritual kingdom, but it is from more interior thought. Celestial angels are in the good of love to the Lord, and therefore speak from wisdom, while spiritual angels are in the good of charity towards the neighbor, which in its essence is truth, and therefore speak from intelligence, for wisdom is from good, and intelligence is from truth. For this reason the speech of celestial angels is like a gentle stream, soft, and as it were continuous, but the speech of spiritual angels is slightly vibratory and divided. The speech of celestial angels has much of the tones of the vowels U and A, while the speech of spiritual angels has much of the tones of E and I, for the vowels stand for tone, and in the tone there is affection, the tone of the speech of angels corresponding to their affection, as has been said above, while the vocal articulations, which are words, correspond to the ideas of thought which are derived from affection. As vowels are not essential to a language, but serve by means of tones to elevate the words to the various affections according to each one's state, so in the Hebrew tongue the vowels are not expressed, and are also variously pronounced. From this a man's quality as to his affection and love is known to the angels. The speech of celestial angels is quite lacking in hard consonants, and it rarely passes from one consonant to another without the interposition of a word beginning with a vowel. This is why in the word the particle "and" is so often interposed, as can be confirmed by those who read the word in the Hebrew language, in which that word is soft, beginning and ending with a vowel sound. Again, in the word In Hebrew, it can in some measure be known from the words used whether they belong to the celestial class or the spiritual class, that is, whether they involve good or truth. Those involving good partake largely of the sounds of U and O, and also somewhat of A, while those involving truth partake of the sounds of E and I. Because it is especially in tones that affections show themselves, so in human speech, when great subjects are discussed, such as heaven and God those words are preferred that contain the vowels U and A. Musical tones also, whenever such themes are to be expressed, rise to the same fullness, but not when less exalted themes are considered. By such means musical art is able to express affections of various kinds. 242. In angelic speech there is a kind of concord that cannot be described. This arises from the pouring forth and diffusion of the thoughts and affections from which speech flows, in accordance with the form of heaven, and all association and all communication in heaven is in accordance with that form. That angels are associated in accordance with the form of heaven, and that their thoughts and affections flow in accordance with it may be seen above. In angelic speech there is a concord with harmonious cadence. 243. Speech like that in the spiritual world is inherent in every man but in his interior intellectual part, yet man does not know this, because this speech does not with man, as with angels, fall into words analogous to affection. Nevertheless, this is what causes man, when he enters the other life, to come into the same speech as spirits and angels, and thus to know how to speak without instruction. But more on this subject below. There is spiritual or angelic speech belonging to man, though he does not know it. The ideas of the internal man are spiritual, but during his life in the world man perceives them naturally, because he then thinks in what is natural. Man comes after death into his interior ideas. Those ideas then form his speech. 244. In heaven, as has been said above, all have one speech, but it is varied in this respect, that the speech of the wise is more interior and more full of variations of affections and ideas of thought, while the speech of the less wise is more exterior and lacking in such fullness, and the speech of the simple is still more exterior, consisting of words from which the meaning is to be gathered in the same way as when men are talking with one another. There is also speech by the face, terminating in something sonorous modified by ideas. Again, there is speech in which heavenly representatives are mingled with ideas, and go forth from ideas to sight. There is also speech by gestures that correspond to affections, and represent things like those expressed by their words. There is speech by means of the general things of affections and the general things of thoughts. There is speech like thunder, besides other kinds. 245. The speech of evil and infernal spirits is likewise natural to them because it is from affections, but from evil affections and consequent filthy ideas, to which angels are utterly averse. Thus the modes of speaking in hell opposite to those of heaven. Consequently, evil spirits cannot endure angelic speech, nor can angels endure infernal speech. To the angels, infernal speech is like a bad odor striking the nostrils. The speech of hypocrites, or such as are able to think themselves angels of light, resembles as to words the speech of angels, but as to affections and consequent ideas of thought, it is the direct opposite. Consequently, when the inner nature of their speech is perceived as it is by wise angels, it is heard as the gnashing of teeth, and strikes with horror. Next, I will post the speech of angels with man 1. Thank you.